Ōhau resident Viv Smith-Campbell still has bruised knuckles from bashing on doors, urging residents and visitors to leave now as flames sped toward the tiny village in the dead of the night. She and her husband Louis are believed to be the first to raise the alarm. The 111 call on Viv's cell phone is time-stamped 3:06 Sunday morning. A howling wind, shingles raining down on their tin roof, and their elderly border collie needing an early AM pit stop probably saved their lives and the lives of others from the wildfire that decimated 40 houses. Louis, restless after heading back to bed after taking the dog out, spotted the blaze through their bedroom loft window. Viv Smith-Campbell, who has been visiting Ōhau for 30 years and living permanently in what she calls paradise for the past 5, says her and her husband always had a plan.
We've got a dog. Her name's Hebe. She's a 13-year-old border collie. She's an old lady dog, and she has to get up and do a wee in the night. And so my husband had taken her out for a wee at about 2 o'clock and come back in and couldn't get back to sleep. And just before 3, he looked out the wee window on our loft and saw something. The full moon was up. He thought, he couldn't believe it. He thought, no, that can't be fire. Looked away and looked again and realised it was. And so he woke me up. And, you know, the thing that I really want to say right from the start is the village had a plan for what to do for fires, and Louis, my husband, and I had a plan. And so at 3 o'clock in the morning, that kicked into place, and Louis got in our car and drove around the village tooting the horn and yelling to the fire siren and switched it on, and then continued. There's a loop road round the village. He continued round tooting and shouting. So my job was to ring 111, which I did, so I was the first one to call. My cell phone tells me it was 3:06. It's a lovely man on the other end. He asked me to describe how big the fire was. He said, you know, is it a football field? And I said, well, yeah, it is. And then I said, it's actually 2 football fields now. And then I said, no, it's 3 football fields. And I think I got up to 4. And I said, this is really serious. We know that the fire service comes from a Marama and Twizel, and they take 30 to 40 minutes to get there. So I hung up with him, and my husband got back and he said, look, there's houses which still haven't got lights on. And there are lots of holiday makers in the village. There's lots of houses rented. So I hopped in the car and started tooting and driving and stopping at houses and waking people up. It's gone down now, but my knuckles were bruised from knocking on doors and, you know, just telling people to don't pack, just get in your car and go, which they did. There's a whole group of young people, ski field staff milling around. I told them just to get in their vehicles and go, and they did. I thought about one guy that lives down a bit of a leg in, so I drove down there and I tried to raise him. His dog barked, but I couldn't raise him. So I came out and I drove round the front and I met up with Craig Overton, who's in our plan, he's our civil defence controller, and I said to Craig, I can't raise this guy. So Craig said, yeah, go and have a go. And then I went home and we put the things that we knew that we wanted to take from our plan in the car. And by that stage, when we left, we live on the western side of the village. I could feel the heat and smell it and hear it. The fire was just right there. I don't know how long all this took. It seemed to take quite a long time. Talking with people, it may have only taken 10 minutes. I don't know. But we, you know, there was a lot of cars in front of us. We were not the last to leave, but we were, you know, at the end. But I'll say it again, you know, it's so important that people think about what you think is the unthinkable. We've always known at Ōhau there's lots of wilding pines, and, you know, we learnt at Pukaki what happens with them, and we knew that if we didn't help ourselves, no one else was going to. There was not going to be fire people knocking on the doors. You know, we had to get ourselves out, and that's what the community that lived there knew. And I wasn't the only one that knocked on doors. There were other people that knocked on doors. There were lots of people, the residents that made sure all the visitors were out. And so I don't, Louis and I are not, you know, the people that did it. We did what we had to do, and other people did what they had to do. And as a community, we got everyone out. And, you know, I feel proud of that, but I feel proud that people followed the plan and did what they needed to do, and they got out.
What was it like knowing that there was a plan of action, that there was, I guess, certain things that you could do, and that the town did at least have that preparation of having a siren, of knowing what the next steps were?
Well, it's always been reassuring. And look, I should say, you know, Waitaki District Council put the civil defence siren on because, you know, we've got earthquake, fires, you know, you name it, we've got hazards. So they did that. Well, you know, it used to be rural fire, now Fens, they used to come up every summer, and we've got little firefighting hoses around the village, and they'd tell us about it, and they would go through the plan with us and tell us, you know, just get out. If it's outside the village and coming to the village, just get out. And, you know, I can't speak highly enough of the firefighters. They are heroes. You know, we got out of the village, but they came in, you know, and defended people's homes. They saved our home. Every home around us is gone, and they saved our home. And it's unbelievable what they did. And they are still doing, and it's dangerous, dirty, tiring, horrible, horrible work, but they are just wonderful, wonderful people. You know, everyone that's involved is just, my admiration for them is, yeah, just so high. I didn't think that I would see our house again. I thought it would be gone. But Louis and I have got our beautiful 3-wee cottages. I work from home in one of them, and Louis does, and we live in the other. And, you know, the work that we've spoken to a local firefighter about that they did to save it was heroic, just heroic. And, you know, it's property after all, it's things. You know, we weren't there, they weren't saving us, they were saving things that were important in our home, and putting themselves at risk doing that.
And that was Viv Smith-Campbell, an Ōhau resident who went door to door, bashing on doors to get other residents out after her husband noticed that fire in the dead of the night.